Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It's Garlaanx here bringing you a new Neverwinter video. And today is the much anticipated Module 30 Warlock build. So we had some changes with the Warlock after testing for countless hours. I don't know, I think I'm up to like 40, 50 hours of just testing everything. I finally decided to release what I think is the best in slot build for Warlock. AoE, area of effect, and single target. So there's a lot of scrutiny, of course, in the Warlock community. Most Warlocks hate me, say that I put out bad information, etc. It is what it is. I've literally been playing a Warlock for over 10 years. I probably know more about the Warlock class in Neverwinter than anyone out there, including the developers, for that matter. So, it is what it is. As I say with all my guides, all the guides that I've put out over the past several years, use it or don't use it. Play the game how you would like to play the game. This is just a mere guide. If you can find something better than this, then show it to me and prove it to me. The statistics do not lie, folks. You can run as many tests as you want. There is a clear-cut winner. So, if you want to prove me wrong and say that I'm a retard, then be my guest. But you have to prove that. Just coming and saying that I'm a retard and I don't know what I'm doing, that literally holds no value whatsoever. So, I've been banned out of the Warlock Discord for countless years now. I think we're over 5 years. They like to talk shit. They don't know what they're doing. So the meta build right now is still using Rescue Investment as per them. When I put out my preview video and disproved all of that, of course I got a lot of hate. So at the end of the day, you can listen to someone that, again, has been playing the Warlock for well over 10 years in this game. Or you can listen to someone else and do less DPS. Now, at the end of the day, like I said, play the game how you want to play the game. This is a mere guide. You can take it, tweak it to your liking. If you want to do less damage, then you want to do less damage. However, if you want to do the most damage that you possibly can in this game, then this is the video for you. So, without further ado, we are going to start with AoE. If we go ahead and bring up the build here, you're going to be using Eldritch Blast as your main at will, and there's a reason for that. Your secondary is going to be Helix. Helix does a lot of damage whenever you get the spirals all the way up. Feel free to burn them. When you have them up, burn them. Simple as that. You're mainly going to be spamming Blast, though. And it's the third attack that we care about the most on this. So this is a weird setup. Now this, again, might not be the most practical, but it is the most damage for AoE. And it's going to be utilizing Blades of the Vanquished Armies, Cursed Bite, and Hellfire Ring. Now, for AoE, your main objective is to kill all of the trash mobs as fast as possible. So this may not be optimal for all the dungeons you do. You may have to switch out a few powers, which is okay. AoE is irrelevant. Like I said, your main objective is to kill trash mobs as fast as possible. If you want to use Arms of Hadar for the stun effect, the knockdown effect, just for the utility alone, by all means do that. Now keep in mind, you will be doing less damage, but hopefully your teammates are doing more than enough damage that trash mobs, again, should be irrelevant. You should be killing trash mobs super fast. The same thing with Fiery Bolt. Feel free to slap in Fiery Bolt for Curse Bite if you so choose. That's the old setup. It's the setup for AoE that we've been using for years now. Would be Blades, Fiery Bolt, Hellfire Ring. A lot of Warlocks will put in Killing Flames. There's nothing wrong with this. Killing Flames can be a nice little finisher for some trash mobs. I was just never a big fan of using it on trash mobs. It's a single target ability. I don't feel that you should be using it in AoE. But again, by all means, you do what you want. The only thing I would really stay away from, of course, is Dread Theft. Dread Theft just locks you in place. Yes, it's a noob trap. It says it does 800 magnitude damage, which it will, but it's very hard to control. It's very hard to maximize that 800 magnitude damage by hitting all of the trash mobs, especially if the trash mobs are scattered around. You're not going to be hitting them all. I would just stay away from Dread Theft. However, again, at the same time, if that's your cup of tea, by all means, you do what you want to do, baby boo. Moving into the dailies, we're still going to use Soul Siphon. It used to be called Accursed Souls back in the day, mainly because it does provide the curse effect and does decent damage. Tyrannical, you don't really want to use an AoE. You don't want to burn your daily on Tyrannical, because if someone in your group kills that trash mob with Tyrannical, then it's wasted. It's just absolutely wasted. I've tried Gates of Hell since it was improved slightly, and it's just not worthwhile, in my opinion. Accursed Soul, Soul Siphon is still the way to go, in my opinion. Now, we're talking about class features here. You're going to want to use ACC, All-Consuming Curse, for the sheer fact that you want that 100% uptime on combat advantage on everything you hit. This is going to coincide with your Eldritch Blast for the sole reason that that third blast of Eldritch Blast is going to apply curse to everything it hits. That's a very big part of this AoE build. Since nothing else is relevant for AoE, we're using Dust to Dust. It says, it's 5% increased damage. That 5% basically correlates to about 1.5, maybe 2% if you're lucky, squeezing it out. Now for the build itself, let's go over it. We are going to be taking Power of the Nine Hells. The only thing that's going to be proccing this is actually going to be your Hellfire Ring. Now, if you stop using Curse Bite and you do put your Fiery Bolt in here, then you're going to get double stacks of your Soul Investor, but your only Soul Investor producer is going to be Hellfire Ring. And that is Power of the Nine Hells. We're going to use Warlock's Curse because it's just literally 15% free additional damage. So we are going to use the Risky Investment, which turns our Soul Investor to just a 20% flat bonus, and then you get 2% per stack. So, as we discussed in the preview video, Risky Investment was changed. So now instead of stacking it 5 times to get the maximum effect, you get 20% right up front on that first stack. And that's really all we care about for AoE, is that additional 20%. Now, between these two, Creeping Death and Executioner's Gift, Creeping Death seems to be performing a slightly better in AoE just because of the dot damage is ticking down constantly. Even though you would think logistically that Executioner's Gift would be producing more damage, it's very close. It's really close for AoE. So for AoE, whatever you really want to use, it's up to you. Creeping Death versus Executioner's Gift, there's really no difference in the AoE situation. And then finally, the Soul Spark Recovery, just so we can get our maximized cooldowns. So what does this translate to? Like I said, in an AoE situation, if you have 5 mobs here and you're using ACC, on that third attack of Eldritch Blast, you're going to see now everything's cursed. I didn't have to cast anything. That's simply at wills. Everything is cursed, and that way you can utilize Curse Bite. So again, when that's looking like something fast-paced, if you're not opening up with your Hellfire Ring, because if your Hellfire Ring means your opener, everything's going to be cursed again. So if we open up with the Eldritch Blast, which is really fast, everything's cursed, and then you pop a Cursed Bite, hitting everything, and then you're popping your Hellfire Ring, you hit your Cursed Bite again. You're just essentially spamming. AoE is nothing but spamming. You're literally spamming until everything is literally dead on your screen. So that's going to wrap it up for the AoE build. If we go ahead and look at just a damage here, if we bring it up, like I said, feel free to use whatever you want, but the fastest and most hard-hitting burst damage that I could come up with as far as AoE is going to be your Blades of the Vanquished, your Hellfire Ring, and your Curse Bite. Those 3 are just synergizing well with the Eldritch Blast. an all-consuming curse, etc. And like I said, trash mobs are irrelevant. You're not looking to do copious amounts of damage in an AoE situation. You're not. You want to destroy everything as fast as humanly possible so you can get to the boss, and then that's where, damage actually matters. You can see Soul Scorch is still producing a ton of damage even without the feat, so it is what it is. There's nothing really else to mention here as far as AoE goes. In my opinion, you can use whatever mount power what you want to use. You can use the Divine Intervention. I was using the Maelstrom, the Arcane Maelstrom in this test. It doesn't really matter. So, like I said, use whatever encounter powers you're comfortable with. But if you do want the most damage for your buck, and once you can get the rotation down, there's nothing comparing right now to this. Now, of course, Blades of the Vanquished can be cast on a party member, which I wish they would have removed. They should have never added that to that encounter power. So you will have to make sure you're casting it on yourself to get the 50% bonus damage for cursed enemies as well. If you cast it accidentally on a team member, make sure you're trying to at least aim toward the tank. He should be in the brunt of things anyway. So that's going to wrap it up for AoE. We're going to move on to single target. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and talk about single target, Module 30, going forward. If there are any changes, then I will make new builds, obviously, but I don't see any significant changes coming for a while, if ever again at this point. So single target in Module 30, in my opinion, like I said, we have a new meta. Again, it has been already scrutinized in the so-called whatever left is, whatever's left of the Warlock community. Like I said at the beginning of this video, by all means, do what you want. Play the game however you want. However, again, if you want to, take advice from someone that actually knows what they're talking about and can prove it literally with statistics, then this video is for you. If you want to be one of my anti-fanboys and talk shit, then go ahead, leave me comments. It actually helps boost the video even more. So by talking shit, you're still helping me, and I appreciate you regardless. Let's jump into it, boys. So, as you're at wills, you're still going to use Hellish Rebuke. You're not going to get a ton of damage out of this, so you're going to try to spam it as much as you can. It's mainly for spark generation, tied in with, obviously, No Pity, No Mercy. Your backup's going to be Dark Helix, even though you're rarely ever going to cast it. Moving into the encounters, we're still going to use Blades of the Vanquished. Blades of the Vanquished. Killing Flames, and then Hadar's Grasp. Your daily, obviously, is going to be Tyrannical, just to get that bonus damage. Your class features are important. You want to make sure you're using ACC. This is just going to maintain 100% uptime on your combat advantage. And now that combat advantage goes to 120%, that just equates to more damage. You want to make sure you have 100% uptime on your combat advantage. Also, this is going to, obviously curse enemies, which is a big part of this single target build. You're going to do extra damage with Hadar's Grasp to cursed enemies. So it's a big deal. No Pity, No Mercy is literally for spark generation. This whole single target build revolves around Soul Sparks. Soul Sparks were buffed. Now they do a ton of damage. Your number one damaging ability is going to be Soul Sparks. It's your Soul Scorch. Your Soul Scorch just does the most damage out of everything. All these encounter powers are irrelevant right now. Even Killing Flames will always come secondary now to Soul Scorch. Your Soul Scorch is going to do the most damage. So as I was testing when this all launched during preview, we found that very quickly. We found the meta build very quickly, and we just had to figure out how to build around it properly. So you want to gain as many Soul Sparks as you can. This is literally just a Soul Scorch burn single target build. You are burning your Soul Sparks as fast as possible. So like I said, as far as the feats go, Double Scorch got a buff. You're just doing more damage with Soul Scorch. As simple as that. Just like AoE, we're taking Warlock's Curse. It's literally just free 15% additional damage. Now here's where the scrutiny comes into play. We are using Soul Desecration. The Soul Puppet does astronomical amounts of damage now. Okay? The Soul Puppet will literally either be your second or third overall DPS. Period. Stacking Soul Investure with this, you still get Soul Investure. You know, we're not using risky investment. That 20% damage is irrelevant. It's not good. Your Soul Puppet out damages and outperforms risky investment. So this is where the scrutiny comes in. The Warlock community still thinks that the meta build and the most DPS is still coming out of risky investment, and it's not. It's not. I've tested it probably 100 times. So Soul Desecration just means your Soul Puppet is basically up all the time. Alright? And then when you stack the Soul Investor, your Soul Puppet gets almost up to 180% damage. It does so much damage. It's stupid. Executioner's Gift, for me, on single target, was outperforming Creeping Death. Again, the Warlock community wants to push Creeping Death on single target. I've tested it over 100 times. Creeping Death is not good on single target. Well, I don't want to say it's not good, but it's not going to equate to the most damage. It's not. You can use Creeping Death if you so choose, but I will out DPS you by using Executioner's Gift. It's just the numbers. The numbers do not lie. Finally, we're going to take the Soul Spark Recovery. Again, we're just, spamming everything. So every time you're using Soul Sparks, you're, recovering encounter speed, and it all just sinks. So that is the single target build for Mod 30. It is definitely a meta switch, in my opinion, from the old days of what we were using pre-Mod 30. Especially with, just like I said, the permanent Soul Puppet. Like I said, if we bring up those numbers, they do not lie. They do not lie, guys. Single targets, if we look at it here, your Soul Scorch is always going to be on top. Again, all of these numbers are irrelevant as far as like the encounter DPS is showing that I did, 884,000 encounter DPS. As I stated in the preview video, that number is irrelevant. Everybody's number is going to be different depending on your gear and what your statistics are. On the preview server, where all this testing was done, obviously, my gear is not good, okay? So your number is going to be very higher. The objective of testing is to see what does the most damage, and then building around that. I can run the same build, and then use a different build. If one build outperforms the other, the encounter DPS doesn't matter. Like I said, if I was a maxed out character, whatever max item level is these days, I think it's over 115,000 item level, a fully maximized character, their numbers are going to be higher during testing. I shouldn't have to explain that, but, maybe there's some new Warlocks out there that don't quite understand that. So, these numbers are all irrelevant. So, for instance, the Soul Scorch is always going to be number one. If you're doing your rotation correctly, Soul Scorch is going to be your top DPS. Period. Hands down. Killing Flames, for instance, was my second, but don't be surprised sometimes if that Wraith Claw, the Wraith Claw from your Soul Puppet, sometimes will outperform Killing Flames. The Soul Puppet is very OP right now, so take advantage of that. And then Blades of the Vanquished, Hadar's Grasp, those are just irrelevant damages. Those are spark generators that are generating sparks for you to dump into Soul Scorch. Again, Hellish Rebuke, the same thing. You're just spamming your at will when you can to gain those Soul Sparks to dump it. So this is, 100% combat advantage. I was wearing a augmented companion at the time. If you're maximized statistics and you're using a striker companion, you're obviously going to do even more DPS. Your striker companion should do, almost another 50 to 100,000 encounter DPS. So this is the single target build going forward, as it is right now. And again, if you can, prove me wrong, show me the numbers, then be my guest. But I've tested this well over 100 times, 50 hours of testing. this is by far the highest damage we can achieve right now on this class. Now, some people ask me about, Hex, Enchanter's Hex. Here's a little log with Enchanter's Hex. You can use it if you want. We're talking about the mount power. Because we're using Hadar's Grasp. Hadar's Grasp will proc Hex. But Hex is just, it's not that much damage. Will it boost your damage a little bit? Sure. Mount powers, there's not that many great ones. So if you want to squeeze Hex in, yeah, you're going to get a little more damage, but is it worthwhile? Nah. Is it necessary? Nah, definitely not. But here's just a little log showing, Enchanter Hex in the build here. It didn't even do 1,000,000 damage. So, I mean, it is what it is. If we flop back in game real quick, if we take a look here, like I said, you're just popping everything here. Pop your Hadars. You're gaining those soul sparks very quickly, and then you're just dumping those soul sparks. You're rinsing and repeating, essentially. Of course, you'd be using your dailies, doing artifact calls, and all that happy-go-lucky stuff. But yeah, this is, of course, 100% uptime on combat advantage due to ACC. ACC is also providing curse, so every time you're at willing, it's going to be cursed. And yeah, the damage just doesn't lie, guys. Like I said, I've ran the numbers. I've done the testing, 50-plus hours. So that's where we're at, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. That's going to be the Module 30 Warlock build, AoE and single target. I've been requested to do the full guide with the gear and everything, mounts, companions. I don't know if I have the time or the energy to do that. Every player has to maximize their own statistics anyway. You guys just are going to have to figure that out. If I have the time, I will try to put a full build and guide video out with all the gear, companions, mounts, etc. But don't get your hopes up on that. I wanted to get this build out a couple weeks ago. I was unable to do that. We have it out now. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, go ahead and leave them below. I know I will get a lot of hate on this video. I always do. I always giggle at it. It makes me just laugh. It is what it is. If you want to listen to me, be my guest. You want to listen to some Joe Schmo that has no idea what they're doing, again, be my guest. At the end of the day, Neverwinter's coming up on year 13. 13 years of Neverwinter. The game is dying at this point. Try to have any fun that you can possibly have left in the game, guys. Don't try to be that sweaty tryhard anymore. Just try to help the group, help the raid, get the content done if you're still enjoying playing the game. It is what it is. That's all I got for you folks today. I'll see you guys real soon.